Hey guys, Richard back here with another episode, and I'm going to try and close out this series today. Let's start with the helpers today. The helpers. The helpers mentioned in the I Ching are not human beings, angels, or supernatural figures. They're individualized aspects of the cosmic consciousness and of nature, and as such are invisible. Every helper fulfills a specific function within the harmonious flow of the cosmos. Hero. The hero is a self-image that is rooted in the human-centered view of the universe. It is the basis of all self-images and the individual's attempt to define himself as special. In the cosmic order, no one thing is special. The idea that the world needs heroes denies the existence of the helpers of the invisible world that alone have the ability to maintain and restore the harmony of the whole. The idea of the hero is always associated with human achievement, i.e. either through divine assistance or the use of power, contrivance, or mental cleverness. However, all these means contradict the cosmic harmony. Acting from the self-image of the hero or heroine creates fate after fate. Whew. Instincts. The word instincts describes a person's inner and metaphorical senses. These senses are instrumental in getting a correct sense of what feels harmonious or discordant in a situation. However, when a person has accepted the view that his nature is divided into higher and lower parts, his instincts as part of his animal nature become slandered and act out in demonic ways. Light and dark. The light and the dark are the two complementary aspects of Qi energy. The light penetrates the space of the dark, while the dark attracts the light. In this manner, they give rise to the 10,000 things of existence. The collective ego falsely defines the light and the dark as opposing forces. When this view is projected upon things, they actually combat each other, thus giving rise to the demonic sphere of consciousness. By deprogramming this mistaken view, the two forces become harmonized by the cosmic helpers. It's your own view that keeps things out of harmony. It's so important, the beliefs that you allow to reside in your mind. Loss. Loss in relation to death is an idea that has no cosmic basis. Its use in this context has the negative effect of separating a person from his loved ones, which may include his animal friends who, as intelligences, live on in the invisible world. Were it not for this idea of loss, these intelligences would otherwise be present as helpers and protectors when he needs them. Looking at them as lost puts a false barrier between himself and them. The person with the correct attitude towards them recognizes their presence, but does not dwell on them as, quote, gone. He goes on with his life in the knowledge that they are there when he needs them and that they are watching out for him. If a person has shut them out through regarding them as lost, he needs to deprogram the image of them as lost and to accept them once more into his life. It is also important that he not look at them as spirits or ghosts. Spirits are entities created by human projections. Wow, very interesting. Which are outside the feeling consciousness of the cosmos. Wow, incredible knowledge right here. Spirits are entities created by human projections, which are outside the feeling consciousness of the cosmos. Ghosts are the forms of people who have become stranded between the visible and invisible world for various reasons. The most common being that death has come to an adult before he was inwardly ready. The formation of a ghost, it needs to be added, is a rather uncommon phenomenon. A ghost can be released from being stuck in this in-between place in the same manner as freeing someone from a projection and poison arrow. In this case, the projection or poison arrow is the image or phrase that the person is stuck or lost. Misfortune. The standard term used in the I Ching to indicate the result of a person's acting from the ideas or beliefs of the collective ego. Misfortune can, but does not necessarily create a fate. Projection. In its general meaning, a projection is any thought that does not come from a person's true feelings. While thoughts that come from true feelings penetrate to the inner truth of others and have a beneficial effect, Thoughts that are of a judgmental nature or come from intention have a harmful effect. Also, wishes and imaginations based on arbitrary dislikes act as projections. Projections can occur between the partners of a relationship or can be attacks upon a couple by other interested parties outside their relationship, most often from members of their respective families. Isn't that true? Psyche. The word psyche in I Ching terms refers to the invisible aspect of a person's whole being. The psyche is complemented by the body as the visible aspect of the personality. Together, psyche and body form a harmonious whole. The psyche, more specifically, refers to the total consciousness, including the subconscious and the unconscious. The consciousness of the total psyche goes far beyond the consciousness of the two frontal lobes of the brain that one normally think of as consciousness, and which mainly centers around perception gained through outer seeing and hearing. The consciousness of the psyche includes a person's feeling consciousness, which is partly unconscious and partly repressed into his subconscious. The unconscious includes the feeling consciousness of the autonomic nervous system. It is influenced most often negatively by the thinking consciousness when the latter has come under the influence of the ego. This happens, for instance, when we, quote, put down the body as lesser and suppress its capabilities into the subconscious. The unconscious consists of what the I Ching calls helpers that connect us with the feeling consciousness of the cosmos and of nature. These helpers coordinate all aspects of the body's functioning with the world outside ourselves. The unconscious also includes other helpers, such as our cosmic virtues, such as modesty, sincerity, loyalty to our inner truth, etc. Our natural abilities, such as to learn, to ask for help, and to say the inner no. And our senses, both physical and metaphorical. The latter being our sense of wholeness, sense of truth, sense of fairness, sense of dignity, sense of limits, sense of caution, to name a few. Some and even all of these helpers can have been made ineffective through having been appropriated or imprisoned by the ego, or made to deviate from their original functioning through the demonizing of our animal nature. The subconscious is not a natural part of the psyche. It is created by the formation of the ego, when the child's connection with his feelings, natural abilities, and inner truth gets suppressed. The subconscious is the inner prison into which everything is flung that is deemed as undesirable by the ego. It also contains the deepest true fears and self-doubts that are the result of his being isolated from his true feelings, and thus being isolated from his connection with the cosmos. Also residing in the subconscious are false feelings of guilt and ego-inspired fears. These fears, self-doubts, and feelings of guilt take on demonic forms that are sometimes seen in meditation and dreams as imps, demons, and dragons. The characteristics of the imps are that they seem cute, mischievous, clever, shrewd. They are behind a number of imp words, such as impulsive, impudence, improper, imperative, impressive, etc. Wow, so many words that start with imp. The imps are words. They are words, seed phrases and images that have taken on a life by the simple fact that we have not said the inner no to them, but have accepted them into our minds. Wow, that sentence, read that sentence over and over again. That's so critical what's happening there. They gain their power through impressing us with their importance, cleverness, etc. They take on identities, either by speaking in the mind as I, as in, I will do this heroic thing, or by adopting the voice of an authority that speaks to us in commanding phrases, such as, you must do this, or reprimanding us, you shouldn't be doing that. They are deprived of their power over us when we consciously deprogram the words, seed phrases, and images of which they consist by saying the inner no to them. The demons can be fears, doubts, or feelings of guilt that haunt the psyche with repetitive phrases or worries. They can also be ego emotions. Dragons are full-fledged control elements created by belief systems, which take on power when we accept those belief systems as true. The sage made us aware that humans are not without help from the cosmos in coping with the harmful consequences of their false use of language. One of the sage's functions is to watch over the borderline between a person's subconscious and his conscious mind, to prevent the fears from literally driving the person crazy. When a person follows the guidance of the sage will bring into his conscious mind only those demonic elements he can cope with at a given time. The sage also determines the best order in which the contents of the subconscious are to be faced and deprogrammed. This brings up the question why some people do get overwhelmed by their fears, as in schizophrenia, cases of deep depression, etc. This happens when the person has developed a particular neurotic complex called the God complex. The idea that a higher power is watching over one's hopes and fears projects an image on the sage that slanders the sage's true nature and blocks its ability to help. So when you think of the sage as being a higher power, it slanders the sage's true nature, and it blocks its ability to help. So you do get overwhelmed then. And that's why it's called the God complex, because you imagine that there is this higher power, there is this God watching over your hopes and fears, and so it becomes a neuroticism because you get so obsessive about it, because God must be watching everything, I mean, that would drive me crazy. And God, as in a higher power, is more powerful than you are, and then so you're going to get very anxious, you're going to get very fearful if you're not doing the quote right thing. It builds up the guilt, I suppose, something like that. Anyways, a person who wants to help another who's suffering from such a complex can deprogram it by eradicating the idea mentioned. This idea needs to be treated as a projection, a spell, and as a poison arrow. It's a big one. The imps, demons, and dragons remain operative in the psyche until such time as the words, phrases, images, and beliefs that comprise them are deprogrammed. Note, as imps, demons, and dragons would like to have autonomous identities that make people feel helpless against them, it is better to reduce them to what they really are: simple words, phrases, and images. So this brings us to the rather profound idea that all of our problems in the world could be resolved through our correcting our false use of language. All of them, all of them, all of them. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible to ponder, that possibility? We don't have to go out and create a harmonious, perfect world. It already exists, but we're blocking it. We're blocking it through our language because we don't realize the power language has, the power false consciousness through words has on us. And the real task is to be able to discriminate which words and phrases, which ideas are in harmony with our inner truth, and make sure we say no, no, no to everything that's not. That's the problem. That's why there's evil in the world, because people have not said no. They've not said the inner no to those false beliefs, to things that aren't in harmony with their inner truth. I mean, deep down, people know when something's not in harmony, when it's not aligned with their inner truth, but they don't say no. They don't say no. And so you've allowed that into your mind then. And then you're going to reap those consequences. It's a way of the cosmos to teach us, I suppose. Anyways, that'll be it for this episode. I think I'll do one more of these, and that'll be it for the I Ching, Oracle of the Cosmic Way. And see you guys again in the next one.